Hello, and welcome to Smart English Lab. I'm your host, Vanessa, and you're listening to a podcast where we learn smart English through real-world topics. Before we begin today's episode, I invite you to find a quiet and comfortable place. Get your notebook and pen ready if you'd like to write down new words. You can also listen while walking, cleaning, or relaxing. Just make sure to focus and stay with me till the end. This podcast is not just for learning English, but also for understanding important topics like pollution and how we can help our planet. So, take a deep breath and let's get started. Today, we're diving into the fascinating journey of one of the world's most beloved drinks, tea. Whether you drink it every morning or only on special occasions, tea has a long and rich history. So, get comfortable. Maybe pour yourself a warm cup of tea, and let's begin the story of how tea leaves became a global symbol of culture, health, and connection. Segment 1. The legendary origin of tea in China. Tea's story begins in ancient China, over 5,000 years ago. According to Chinese legend, in the year 2737 BC, Emperor Shennong, a skilled herbalist, was boiling water under a tree. Suddenly, some leaves from the tree blew into his pot. The emperor drank the water and felt refreshed and alert. Those were tea leaves, and this became the earliest known story of tea discovery. Of course, this is a legend, but it shows how deeply tea is rooted in Chinese tradition and medicine. Tea was originally used not just for enjoyment, but also as a healing drink. Segment 2. Tea in ancient Chinese culture. By the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907 AD, tea became a part of daily life in China. People didn't just drink tea. They wrote poems about it, created artworks, and developed detailed tea ceremonies. Tea was pressed into bricks, ground into powder, and mixed with hot water. This form of tea, called matcha, would later influence Japanese tea culture too. Tea culture in China was about more than just taste. It was about peace, respect, and mindfulness. Segment 3. Tea travels to Japan and beyond. Tea traveled from China to Japan in the 9th century, brought by Buddhist monks. It was quickly embraced, especially by the monks who used tea to stay awake during long meditations. In Japan, tea developed its own unique culture, including the famous Japanese tea ceremony, or shinoya. This ceremony is not just about drinking tea, it's a spiritual and cultural experience full of meaning and tradition. Tea then moved west through trade routes, reaching Korea, Vietnam, and Central Asia. Segment 4. Tea reaches Europe. Tea reached Europe in the 1600s, thanks to Portuguese and Dutch traders. It first became popular in Portugal and the Netherlands, and later in Britain, where it found a permanent home. By the late 17th century, afternoon tea had become a fashionable ritual among the British upper class. The famous tradition of tea time was born. It wasn't just a drink anymore. It became part of social life, especially with sugar, milk, and pastries. Segment 5. The role of tea in colonization. Now comes a darker chapter in tea history. As demand for tea grew in Britain, the country needed more control over tea production. The British East India Company began importing large amounts of tea from China. But to reduce reliance on China, they turned to their colony, India. Large tea plantations were created in Assam and Darjeeling, and workers, often poor and oppressed, were made to grow tea under tough conditions. Tea became deeply tied to colonial trade, exploitation, and global politics. This history reminds us that even something as simple as tea has complex roots. Segment 6. The invention of the tea bag. In 1908, an American tea merchant named Thomas Sullivan accidentally invented the tea bag. He sent tea samples in small silk bags, and people thought they were supposed to place the entire bag in hot water. The idea caught on, and soon, tea bags made tea preparation quick and convenient, especially in the West. This invention helped tea become an everyday household item, not just a fancy drink. Segment 7. Tea around the world today. Today, tea is one of the most widely consumed drinks in the world, second only to water. In China, green tea remains popular. In India, chai is a national favorite, a blend of tea, milk, sugar, and spices. In Britain, black tea with milk is part of everyday life. In Japan, matcha tea is used in ceremonies and even desserts. In Morocco, mint tea is a sign of hospitality. Tea now symbolizes comfort, culture, health, and connection across many countries and traditions. Segment 8. Tea and English vocabulary. Let's take a quick look at some useful words from today's episode. Herbalist, someone who uses plants for healing. Ceremony, a formal activity or event with special meaning. Plantation, a large area where crops are grown. Colonization, the control of one country over another, often by force. Tradition, a belief or custom passed down over time. You can try using these in your own sentences or writing exercises. Thank you truly for spending your time with me today on Smart English Lab. I hope you enjoyed exploring the rich and fascinating journey of tea, from ancient leaves falling into a pot in China to the comforting cup many of us enjoy every day across the world. Tea may seem like a simple drink, but as we've discovered, it's deeply connected to culture, history, health, politics, and even personal rituals. Each cup holds a story of discovery, of empire, of resilience, and of connection. And that's what this podcast is all about, helping you learn English smartly by connecting it to real topics that matter. Because when you learn with meaning, you remember with purpose. If this episode made you think, made you smile, or taught you something new, I would be so grateful if you could take just a minute to support this podcast. Here's how you can help. Subscribe or follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Leave a review or a comment. Your thoughts really inspire me to keep going. Like this episode if your platform allows. And most importantly, share this episode with a friend, a family member, or a fellow tea lover. A simple share can help someone learn and feel inspired, just like you. You can also connect with me on social media or leave suggestions for future episodes. What topics are you curious about? What stories would you like to explore next? All while improving your English. Your voice matters, and your support helps this podcast grow. So once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for learning. And thank you for being part of this journey. Until we meet again, stay curious, stay calm, stay kind, and most of all, keep learning smart. Take care and see you in the next episode.